Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman Sessions and Ranking Member Mafumi, for allowing me to wave on to this hearing. I very much appreciate this opportunity. Secondly, I want to thank Vice Chair Taub and all the commissioners for being here today. It's good to see you again. The United States Postal Service is approaching a pivotal point in its long and storied history. In fiscal year 2025, the Postal Service lost over $9 billion and lost around $2 billion in quarter two of fiscal year 2026. At the most recent Board of Governors meeting, Postmaster General Steiner reiterated his calls for Congress to work with the USPS to find solutions to the financial issues they are facing. As the co-chair of the Congressional Postal Service Caucus, I am committed to that mission as well. Congress must be working with the Postal Service and stakeholders to protect USPS employees and ensure the Postal Service has a strong financial footing as we enter the 2030s and beyond. Additionally, any postal reform bill sanctioned by Congress must include provisions that protect and strengthen the role of the Postal Regulatory Commission. Contrary to what some at the Postal Service have said about the PRC, I believe they are a critical oversight body. In the coming months and years, as Congress moves forward with potential reform ideas, I want to emphasize the importance of an independent Postal Regulatory Commission and look to expand its oversight ability. With all of that in mind, my first question is to Vice Chair Taub, regarding the Regional Transportation Optimization Plan. I was wondering if you could talk about why you think the Postal Service's analysis on the RTO was flawed and what lessons can be drawn from future network restructuring initiatives that impact rural communities like the ones that I represent in downstate Illinois.
Sure. The commission under the law, it dates from the 1970s Act and is one of the few holdovers in the 2006 law that left it as an advisory opinion, but recognizing Postal Service as the operator. When they make changes that are generally affecting service nationwide, they have to come to us for advisory opinion. It's a full-blown Administrative Procedure Act proceeding. We sit in bonk, it's on the record, and Postal Service came to us as required under the law in December of 2024 and sought our opinion. We provided that in January and cautioned that this plan was predicated on savings that we found were at best illusory and frankly we couldn't really verify. And secondly, deep concern that we were seeing what was going to be created was creating a tale of two America, shall we say. Rural America is going to see delayed service, slower service under this plan. It gives me no joy to say that unfortunately more than a year in under that plan, which they ignored our advice, in fact criticized us, that we didn't know what we were talking about, that we're just a burden, has come to fruition.
Right. Thank you. And if I have a couple more questions, if you don't mind if we pause there. My second question is to you again, Vice Chair. As Congress looks at potential postal reform ideas, I am curious if there are any historical precedents in other sectors that you think could provide a blueprint to ensure the Postal Service is able to continue serving Americans for decades to come.
Yes, Congresswoman, the Commission's full testimony suggests a possible legislative approach that could be informative if Congress is trying to grapple with the issue of how do we find the universal service obligation. The Federal Communications Commission under the 1996 Telecommunications Act was directed by Congress to define by regulation in the light of day with notice and comment and can be revised by regulation the USO for the telecom space under guidelines and guidance and guardrails that Congress put in place, but Congress did not, was expecting to have to go through the hard work of itself of trying to get 218 votes in the House and 51 or 60 in the Senate on all the detailed definitions, but look to the FCC to do that from a definitional standpoint.
Okay, I'll be checking that out. Just one question last. Can you discuss what went into the PRC's decision to grant USPS the temporary conditional waiver on amortization payments, and how do you think this changes the short and medium-term financial outlook for the Postal Service?
It was not an easy decision for us because we provided the Postal Service additional rate authority to go above inflation on their market-dominant products. And if they chose to, it was an opportunity for the first time in over a decade to start paying the obligations for CSRS and FERS that otherwise they've been defaulting on. But we recognize the reality of what we're dealing with, in which we're facing suddenly a cash crisis, as the Postal Service announced, and we stepped forward and provided a waiver for a few years. That's $2.4 billion as of September 30th this year, and probably payments of about $3 billion or more that's moving. It's in the rate base. It's been collected from restricted cash to unrestricted to allow the paid bills. It's not a panacea or fix, but I think it provides Congress and all of us an opportunity, a little bit of more breathing room to not reach for choices of desperation, but think this through in a little more constructive way.
Thank you very much, and I yield back.